in former NFL player Douzable to break down all of the exciting Week 2 headlines. There's a lot of them. So we're going to start off with the Bucs and the Saints. So first off, the Bucs, the banged-up Bucs. They got a lot of injuries that they're dealing with. They got Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Julio Jones, and the Saints, they're coming off that big win in Atlanta. Really exciting there. So what can we expect from that game?
Yeah, Jacqueline, the injuries give you an issue. You worry about that right now. It's only Thursday. We'll see how practice progresses throughout the week, right? Friday will be usually the telltale. If somebody doesn't practice Friday, they most likely won't go. But I think the biggest thing, you talk about the injuries to the receiver position with Russell Gage and Chris Godwin, and even Mike Evans being on there. But Donovan Smith, to me, that's the biggest injury, right? Cam Jordan has had a field day against Brady the last 2 years, getting to the quarterback. We saw when Josh Wells came in the game last week versus the Dallas Cowboys, Michael Parsons made quick work of him. So to me, that's the biggest thing you have to watch out for in this game, right? The offensive line health for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then also, the Saints just match up really well. It feels like they draft just to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They play man coverage on the outside. Bradley Roby, Marshawn Lattimore. These guys have had really good games against Mike Evans. So that secondary versus this receiving group, whoever decides to be healthy enough to actually be out there to play Sunday, will be something I watch for this Sunday between the Bucs and the Saints.
All right, and moving on to the 49ers and the Seahawks. So Trey Lance, a little bit of trouble that he had in Chicago. It was a rainy game. We just saw the video of them sliding on the field there. But, he really struggled. He was 13 of 28 for passing for 164 yards. And there was also an interception. So what does Trey Lance need to do to have a totally different outcome against the Seahawks? Yeah,
Trey Lance got a lot of the blame for that game, but it wasn't all on him. Now, yes, he did have some happy feet, sailed some passes. He had Tyler Kroft wide open down the sideline on a wheel route for a touchdown. He overthrew him, threw some inaccurate passes. But his offense really didn't help him out at all either. I mean, Deebo Samuel in the red zone had a speed sweep, fumbled the football. That's points off the board right there. You also talk about his offensive line. Mike McGlinchey was out there getting beat left and right for sacks. You got to help this young rookie out, right? It was a weather, game that had a lot of rain. I think he'll be a lot more comfortable being at home. Kyle Shanahan will have a really good game plan for him. I think he bounces back this week and has a good week.
All right, looking forward to it. And speaking of the Seahawks, Geno Smith, with that amazing win over Russ Wilson and the Broncos, in his post-game interview, they said, what do you have to say, the people that weren't expecting it? He said, I just write him off, whatever. So what can he do to have that same outcome again this week?
Yeah, Geno, or G-Money as I call him, I actually talked to him 2 days ago. He was my teammate with the New York Jets. Just continue to live within the offense. He never tried to do too much. He spread the ball around, I believe completed a pass to 8 different receivers, live within the offense. The big thing is the offensive line, right? They have 2 rookies starting at the offensive tackle position, in Abraham Lucas and also Charles Cross, right? Charles Cross played really well except for 2 plays in that game. And Bradley Chubb beat him on both of those plays because they left him out there with no help. So if you're the Seahawks offense, you got Nick Bosa on that side. You don't want to make that same mistake. Make sure you chip him, play in and play out. They also got Eric Armstead in the inside. Javon Kinlaw, everybody was saying this guy could potentially be a bust. Well, he wreaked havoc versus the Chicago Bears last week. So this is a formidable defensive line that this Seahawks team is facing. Put your offensive tackles in advantageous positions, right? Have the running back chip block them. Keep the tight end in, chip block Nick Bosa, because you don't want them just teeing off on Geno. And then continue to run the ball. They ran the ball really well last week with Rashad Penny. Run the ball, Geno, live within the offense, and you'll be fine.
All right, next up we have Vikings and the Eagles. So we had A.J. Brown. He had a great week 1, 155 receiving yards. And it seems like Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, they're just getting a lot of really good chemistry. Yeah. So do you think Hurts should kind of build upon that or maybe spread the wealth a little bit?
I mean, the Eagles' offense just puts you in the bind with their run game. With Jalen Hurts, you got to account for an extra guy. That's an extra guy you have to account for on defense with his legs. I mean, he had 90 yards rushing last week, and so did Miles Sanders. So when guys, creep up in that box, the safeties and linebackers, they creep up in that box, then you get one-on-one situations with A.J. Brown, and they took advantage of that versus Detroit. I like the continuity these 2 guys have been building up ever since A.J. Brown was traded to them. Again, that run game, everything starts with the run game with the Philadelphia Eagles. Quarterback run with the running back, and then, guys add people into that box, and now you get A.J. Brown, the big physical receiver on the outside in one-on-one situations. Believe he went over 150 last week. Look for him to do more of the same this week.
And, Justin Jefferson might be a bit of a problem for the Eagles defense. So how can they, what can they do as far as Justin Jefferson goes?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if you look at last week and what happened with the Vikings in the Green Bay game, right, the secondary for the Green Bay Packers, they didn't communicate right. There's no way you leave Justin Jefferson wide open. I believe it was cover 1 or cover 3. Jair Alexander had him in cover 3 if he goes vertical. He didn't communicate it. He tried to pass it off. Rasul Douglas didn't know that. He was wide open for an explosive play. You can't have that. Now, the good thing is the Eagles, they run 2 and 2 man, right? They have 2 really good corners in Darius Slay and James Bradbury. So they're probably going to bracket Justin Jefferson, right? Somebody's going to play with inside leverage. Somebody's going to play with outside leverage. Now, Kevin O'Connell, the head coach, does a really good job of motioning Justin Jefferson, right? So you don't know where he's at. They put him in stack alignments. So it's going to come down to communications. That secondary is going to have to really communicate to know where Justin Jefferson is. And if he motions inside, you got to talk to the slot guy. Like, you have inside leverage, I have outside leverage. You cannot leave a guy that good wide open.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you so much, Lachey. We appreciate your time. Always good speaking to you. All right, and also just keep in mind we have the All Things Covered podcast with B-Mac and Patrick Peterson. They're going to be breaking down this Monday Night Football matchup in the latest episode. Click it, download it, give the guys a follow.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.